Hello guys and welcome to my new video. There's been an insane amount of information released about patch 10.2 in terms of the new PTR build, new tier sets, new class changes, healing mentality change. Everything is changing, guys. In today's video we're going to be looking at every single tier set for healers. We're going to be looking at some of the class changes and my first impressions. Now, big disclaimer, this is Wild West. First iteration of the patch means that there's almost 100% chance there's going to be changes to the tier sets and class changes further down the line because Blizzard is just experimenting right now. But again, let's look at our first impressions. So let's go and have a look at Restoration Druid tier set. And again, the first one is the 2-set bonus. You and your Grove Guardian nourishes now heal 2 additional allies within 40 yards at 40% effectiveness. You're probably not really going to cast yourself nourish that much, but Grove Guardians they're really building on the Grove Guardian hype for Resto Druids because there has been Grove Guardian addition added in 10.17, and in terms of the class changes, they're making some significant changes in terms of how your Tree of Life works, because during your Tree of Life, you summon a Grove Guardian every 10 seconds. And Reforestation has been changed to 10-second duration to allow for 2 Grove Guardians. Just to showcase how it works, let's go to the PTR. So this is my Resto Druid. I'm wearing the tier set. Again, in terms of looks, it's up to you to decide, but we have, again, this might bring back Reforestation to the mix. Don't look at the talents for any of the classes. I'm messing around with everything right now, but Reforestation has not really been a thing right now in raids because of just how awkward it is to really align with certain bursts. But because Reforestation has been changed to summon Grove Guardians and now your 2-set bonus kind of encourages you to have more Grove Guardians, let's have a look at how it's going to work. So now I have 2 stacks of Reforestation because I don't want you to wait. I'm going to be casting Swiftmend again. It's going to proc Tree of Life. It's going to instantly proc Grove Guardian. So you're getting that Grove Guardian instantly the second you go into Tree of Life. And then every 10 seconds, you're also going to spawn additional ones. So at the very end of your Reforestation, you're also going to get a second one. They're going to be casting Nourishes. Those Nourishes are going to work with your 2-set bonus. So there's going to be more emphasis on Reforestation, more emphasis on Tree of Life. We'll have to see exactly. Again, I'm not talking about the best builds, but there's definitely the 2-set bonus is leaning towards that Grove Guardian build. The class of Resto Druid is leaning towards that Grove Guardians. You're almost like a pet healing class, especially coming into 10.2. So let's go and have a look at the 4-set bonus. Clear casting now causes your regrowth to also cast Nourish onto a nearby injured ally at 200% effectiveness, preparing those with your healer overtime effect. There is a feedback loop here because if you're casting, again, you're maintaining your life bloom. If you maintain your life bloom well, you're going to get more clear castings. Again, when you get clear casting, you're casting your regrowth. There is not much in terms of gameplay changes. You're already doing that on live service anyways. So you're getting clear casting, you're casting regrowth, and that is also going to cast Nourish. Then, because of your 2-set bonus, when you cast Nourish, it also now heals 2 additional allies. And that kind of works together. Let's go to PTR just to test it out. I got the clear casting right now. I'm casting regrowth. This is going to, you can see it here. This is going to cast Nourish on myself as well, and then it's going to cast additional 2 Nourishes from the 2-set bonus. So a total of 3 Nourishes are being cast in this feedback loop based on your 2-set bonus and 4-set bonus. Again, I haven't tested it if it's smart heal or how it targets people and all of that, but the general consensus of this is that it does feel like there's a lot of emphasis on Grove Guardians. The gameplay or the talent build might change towards more Grove Guardians. You'll have to have a better uptime of life bloom. Am I super excited about clear casting being the main focus of it? Probably not, but again, it's not the worst tier set bonus. I'm not looking at the power. I think it's okay. I'm not really upset about the fact that Druid is heading into Grove Guardians, but guys, let me know how you feel about these huge gameplay changes and tier set changes for Resto Druid. Let's go and have a look at Preservation Evoker, and you can see here the 2-set bonus. Empower spells cast Living Flame at enemies or allies struck at 40% effectiveness. Now, in order to really kind of test it, you have to test it on PTR. Let's go and have a look at the PTR servers. So just to clarify some things, again, if you're casting something like Fire Breath on enemies, you'll see here I'm going to cast Fire Breath, and then there's going to be Living Flames launched at them, which kind of feels really interesting because it provides additional. Again, this is one of those tier sets in terms of 2-set bonus that provides damage and healing. Anytime there's a tier set that provides damage and healing, I think it's a better addition because it functions more in Mythic Plus where damage, again, at higher end tier content, healer damage matters. So tier sets that provide that are inherently more fun for me. And again, if you cast Living Flame or if you cast Dream Breath, you'll see that the targets are also going to get hit with Living Flames on them. And you can see the Living Flames are going to work in terms of trying to proc your Essence Burst, and then we'll have to look at the 4-set bonus, because the 2-set bonus, I think 2-set bonus feels and acts really in an interesting way because, again, provides damage and healing. It works with a lot of your talents. Again, It provides more in terms of essence burst. I think it's interesting. Now let's look at 4-set. And now in terms of the 4-set bonus, Living Flame has a chance to... The bane of any healer who's healing content has a chance. And this is why I don't think the 4-set bonus is all that interesting or that fun. But again, anything can change. Living Flame has a chance to apply Echo at 100% effectiveness on allies healed or a nearby ally who doesn't already have Echoes. So this is kind of complements your 2-set bonus, because of your 2-set bonus, you're casting your empowered abilities, things like, again, the healing empowered abilities, things like Spirit Bloom and Dream Breath, that they're going to be casting Living Flame, and then your Living Flame is going to have a chance to apply Echoes on them, but it has a chance, so it's not always guaranteed. And then I just generally feel anything that orangey is not that great. Let's have a look at PTR just to test it out. Again, on PTR service, I was testing a lot of things, so those are trying to see what the chance is, casting like my Spirit Bloom, and then checking again. This guy got hit. Did he get echoes? He didn't get an echo. I was trying to determine what the chance is. But generally speaking, anything with orangey doesn't feel all that impactful. I don't think this build, or I don't think the intention is to make you cast Living Flames in terms of defensive, in terms of healing Living Flames, because I don't think casting Living Flames feels all that fun for Preservation Evoker gameplay, both in Raids and Mythic Plus. I think it's more about making your 2-set more powerful. I haven't checked it, but it might be working with something like Leaping Flames. For example, if you cast a full rank Fire Breath and then you use your Living Flames to heal, that should, in theory, give you, again, a chance of applying echoes on people because your Living Flame is bouncing from allies to allies. Again, there's a couple of talent interactions. Big fan of 2-set bonus, provides damage and healing, provides additional, again, you also have to remember, let's go to some of the class changes for Preservation. Because you have to remember, your Echo spreading as Preservation Evoker has been nerfed significantly, because Resonating Sphere applies Echo to the first 3 allies it hit instead of 5. But your tier set bonus is giving you a chance of higher Echo applications, because guess what? Your empowered spells are going to be casting Living Flames, and your Living Flame has a chance of applying Echoes. Big fan of the 2-set bonus because it gives you additional damage and healing. 4-set bonus RNG, not a big fan of this. We'll have to see how the echo generation or spreading is going to look like in raids when I get to test it out further. And now let's go to Holy Paladin. And 2-set bonus, when Glimmer of Light dissipates or is refreshed, it creates a holy reverberation on its target to heal an ally or damage an enemy for over 8 seconds. Multiple holy reverberations may overlap up to 3 times. Another tier set bonus that also provides damage and healing, which is honestly really important, especially if you're trying to do Mythic Plus content or want your healer to provide additional damage. I actually think this 2-set bonus feels it's probably going to be really nice, because honestly, there's multiple times, for example, in raid content, you'll probably be going over those 8 or the cap of 8 glimmers, and then the person that loses glimmer is going to get this hot on them. And in Mythic Plus content, you're probably going to be overriding glimmers all of the time, especially if you're approaching a trash pack or a boss where you need to provide that spot healing with Holy Shock. And you're just like, I'm overriding glimmers all the time and I still need healing. And that's going to apply a hot on them that also stacks up multiple times. Let's go on PTO and just check out a couple of things. This is my Holy Paladin on PTO. This is the set bonus right here. Let me know how you feel about this in terms of the looks. I think it's okay, but there is multiple times you're going to be overriding glimmer, especially in Mythic Plus content, or at least a 2-set bonus providing damage and healing feels really good. Because, for example, if you're, just to showcase it, I'm gonna cast Holy Shock. This is gonna apply Glimmer. I'm gonna cast Holy Shock on myself again. This is going to override Glimmer, and this is going to apply Reverberation. And you can cast, and it's going to stack up multiple times. So there are multiple cases where you're going to be casting multiple Holy Shocks, so you might be overriding Glimmer because, for example, you're running Daybreak, and you have to be running Daybreak, and you're going to be running Rising Sunlight. So if you're using Daybreak, and then you're going to get a shotgun effect of Holy Shock, and you're doing Mythic Plus content, and you're like, I want to provide additional damage. You're going to cast Holy Shock on this enemy, and this is going to provide multiple stacks of Holy Reverberation. Again, you can do that on multiple enemies to provide additional damage, and the fact that it works for damage and healing is a huge boon to Holy Paladin, because again, if you like damage as a healer, this is a tier set like this is always going to be nice. So again, there's multiple times in Mythic Plus content where you might be overriding Glimmer. There's multiple times in raid content where you're going to be going beyond those 8 Glimmer caps, and your other Glimmer is going to disappear. It's going to provide a hot and things like that. And the fact that it stacks means that Blizzard is fully aware of the fact that you can be overriding Glimmer multiple times on the same target, especially in Mythic Plus content, or if someone needs spot healing. Again, I do feel that a lot of these tier sets to some extent are aimed at Mythic Plus, which is kind of interesting, but I want to know your feedback on this. Let's look at 4-set. The 4-set bonus for Holy Paladin is the cooldown of Daybreak is reduced by 15 seconds. This could be 30 seconds, this could be 40 seconds, I don't care. It could be insanely powerful and things like that. In terms of ingenuity, this is probably like bottom tier. I think it's a very lazy tier set to add in terms of 4-set bonus. This doesn't have a lot of... Again, this could be insanely overpowered because, again, there's multiple times there's a talent in class 3 Quicken Invocation that a lot of Holy Paladins running Mythic Plus content will be running, and it's going to reduce the cooldown of your Divine Toe. And this 4-set bonus is basically the same thing, except it's a 4-set bonus. Again, could be insanely overpowered. In terms of innovation, it's not there. In my eyes, the 4-set bonus should be a lot more interesting to read and interesting to play. I don't care that it's overpowered. I still think they should have something different, because I think 4-set bonuses especially should be like, wow, this is gonna change my gameplay in a significant way. But that's my opinion. Overall, I think Holy Paladin tier set looks pretty strong. In terms of ingenuity, 4-set bonus could use a lot more help. Now let's go to Mistweaver Monk, and honestly, on the first read of this, I think Mistweaver Monk is the clear winner in terms of the tier set bonuses of being overpowered. Or wait, guys, I meant this is a really poor bonus. It's not good at all. Blizzard, please don't nerf. That's a twitch right here. But either way, 2-set bonus, Renewing Mist, and it jumps apply Chi Harmony, increasing its target's healing taken from you by a whopper 50%. There's no chance that's gonna stay. By a whopper 50% for 8 seconds. Now, if you're running your Mistweaver Monk, if you play your Mistweaver Monk, especially Mythic Plus content, your Renewing Mist and the uptime of Renewing Mist on the whole target is pretty damn high. So you're looking at an insanely high uptime of this buff, which increases healing on the target by 50%. Just let's just test it out on PTO a little bit. And this is my Mistweaver Monk on PTO, and this is the new tier set. It's very red, and we're gonna test out the 2-set bonus. The 2-set bonus, the second we cast Renewing Mist on someone, it's going to apply a Chi Harmony buff, which you can see here, which increases healing taken by 50%, which is wild, because the uptime in Mythic Plus is going to be insane. Because when your Renewing Mist jumps to another target, it also applies this Chi Harmony buff, and we're gonna try and... Come on, Renewing Mist jump. We're gonna try and test it out. It jumped on this guy. Or jumped on this guy. It jumped on this guy. You can see here the Chi Harmony has been applied as well. So, Renewing Mist, when you first apply it, applies this buff, and when Renewing Mist jumps, it also applies this buff. In Mythic Plus, applying Renewing Mist on multiple targets, the uptime is going to be insanely high. This is looking, in my opinion, in terms of 2-set bonus, by far the best 2-set bonus that I've seen from any healer. Or, it's not that strong, don't nerf Blizz. Let's go and look at 4-set. In terms of the 4-set bonus for Mistweaver Monk, 15% of all the healing you do to targets with Chi Harmony, and again, we talked about Chi Harmony buff, really high uptime in Mythic Plus, is stored and then dispersed evenly among your allies with Renewing Mist on them when Chi Harmony fades or is refreshed. I don't really want to, again, testing this out in Mythic Plus or testing out on PTO is a little bit awkward, but there is so much kind of events that are gonna go off here. Maintaining Renewing Mist on targets, healing the targets during this buff, and then there's also additional healing because Chi Harmony is going to be when it's faded or refreshed, because that event is going to happen quite often. Just to investigate more, let's go to PTO and test out the Mistweaver Monk 4-set bonus. It seems that the healing that you do to the Chi Harmony targets also procs off your Renewing Mist healing. Just to showcase the amount of events that are going to proc from just 2 Renewing Mists, I'm just going to place 2 Renewing Mists on these targets and do no other healing. And this is just 2 Renewing Mists. And then you'll see if the Renewing Mists are going to jump and things like that, you're going to get a lot more events. My Chi Harmony healed. My Chi Harmony healed. Like you can see, you can see the amount of events that are being fired off. And that's me just giving or shooting out 2 Renewing Mists. Now imagine if I'm actually healing or focusing on healing the targets that have Chi Harmony. I'm not even looking at the 4-set bonus. I'm already in awe based on the 2-set bonus. Because the 2-set bonus is insane. I'm not going to make any predictions here, but I think, again, if nothing changes, I think Mistweavers have won the lottery. I'm really excited to Mistweaver, probably one of the winners in terms of everything that's happening for 10.2. There's a couple of other classes. I think the Swing Priest is looking really nice with a lot of the changes, but Mistweaver Monk is definitely up there as well. Let's go and have a look at this Swing Priest, probably one of the biggest winners in terms of the class changes, because there's a list of class changes here in terms of simplifying everything. And again, that's going to be important because I think the 2-set bonus or the 4-set bonus or the tier set for Discipline Priest kind of plays into the new rework for Discipline, because the 2-set bonus, Smite and Penance damage is increased by 20%, and Smite extends the duration of an active atonement, singular. So it's going to basically pick an atonement and it's going to extend it. I haven't checked it in terms of how it works because, again, this is initial or first impressions by 2 seconds. a lot of people might be reading this and they're like, Smite is not really that important in Dragonflight in Season 2, it's not all that great, but you have to remember, there is a huge amount of reworks that are happening to Discipline Priest because you're getting a simplification, which I've been talking about for a long time. Discipline Priest in raids with like, in Season 2 you have like 15 unique button rotation and like 24 button spell order in order to provide your evangelism burst in raid content. That is absolutely wildly insane and just crazy. So they're actually changing Shadow Covenant to be a passive talent that's triggered by Shadow Fiend or Mindbender, and Schism has now been redesigned to be a passive talent that now causes your Mind Blast to fracture the enemy's mind, and Mind Blast cooldown has been increased. So there is a very likelihood chance that Smite is going to become a bigger portion of your rotation because your rotation is becoming significantly lower. Just let's have a look at PTR. So in terms of the 2-set bonus, again, I do think that in Mythiclus content is going to provide, again, I talk about Mythiclus, but I think there's going to be a quality of life improvement in terms of trying to maintain an atonement, because you have to remember, I apply atonement myself and I cast Smite. Smite's cast time is less than the actual increase in terms of the duration, so you're able to indefinitely keep up a atonement. Again, it's going to pick, I'm not sure how the optimization in terms of which atonement it's going to extend or how that works exactly in terms of optimization, in terms of priority system. But again, if you're doing Mythiclus content and you're just trying to maintain atonement on the tank because no one else is taking damage, you don't really have to refresh it. You can just press it and then you can press Smite, and Smite is looking to be like a bigger portion of your rotation because Discipline Priest is getting simplified by a significant amount. Oh, I kind of forgot to show you here. This is just a new talent that's being introduced. You cast it, and oh yeah, this is definitely one of the coolest looking talents or spells that I've seen so far that's been added in 10.2. I think Discipline Priest is going to be juicing it up. Am I a huge fan of 2-set bonus? I think it's okay. Do I think it's groundbreaking? Not really, but I'm more upset about losing your old 4-set bonus in terms of instant cast power word radiances, because I think that actually added a lot of fun to Discipline. I was kind of hoping they were going to bake it into the class by itself or make it a talent. And in terms of the 4-set bonus, you can see here Smite has a 100% chance to cast an additional time during Shadow Covenant, dealing shadow damage. Now, if you're reading this, you might be like, I'm not 100% sure about this, but you have to remember, Shadow Covenant is being changed. You can see right here, Shadow Covenant has been redesigned. Shadow Fiend or Mindbender enters you into Shadow Pact. So you might be running like a combination of that squid build in terms of having Mindbender, in terms of reducing the cooldown of Mindbender, and having the chance or making Smite a lot more powerful during those Mindbender windows is actually pretty interesting and might actually be pretty powerful. It's one of those things where you need to test out a little bit more, and it's one of those things where you might be reading it and you might, I'm not sure how powerful this is, but in further investigation, this is looking to be like a pretty decent tier set, but requires more testing because Discipline has been changed significantly. Let's have a look at Holy Priest. And in terms of the 2-set bonus here, Holy World Serenity applies a 14-second of renewal to its target. I mean, by itself, it doesn't sound really all that amazing, but Holy World Sanctify applies 5 seconds of renew to allies it heals. This is going to be another renew type of, it's going to be a hot tier set. It's all going to be focusing on renew. So your Holy Word spells in terms of Holy Word Serenity and Sanctify are going to apply renew. And you're like, okay, renew, it's not the most exciting or the most sought after ability for Holy Priest Arsenal, both in Raid and Mythiclus. I don't know how to feel about this. But then you look at 4-set bonus, and then Renew's healing has a chance. I'm not a huge fan of these chance things, but it's not that bad when you compare it to something like Preservation Evoker 4-set. Renew's healing has a chance to cause your next, and it's not bad because he has charge system. Renew's healing has a chance to cause your next Holy Word Sanctify or Holy Word Serenity to not consume a charge when cast and cost 50% less mana, stacking up to 2 times, which you can actually kind of pool. So what is this going to mean in terms of the gameplay, in terms of the talent build? Let's go and have a look at PTR. So in terms of Holy Priest, there's definitely going to be extra emphasis, again, for spreading your renew. It's all about renew. There's multiple talents in your arsenal to do with renew. Again, you're looking at things like Revitalizing Prayers. Prayer Feeling has a 24% chance to apply 5-second renew to its allies. Are you going to be using that? Is it going to become more popular? In terms of applying more renews, you need to have more uses of something like Holy Word Sanctify, because Holy Word Sanctify is going to apply a renew on targets that it hits. And then that's going to give you a higher chance of getting that 4-set proc. So in order to get more charges of Holy Word Sanctify, you're probably going to dwell or delve deeper into that Miracle Worker build, which is already very popular in raid content, and you can use it in Mythic Plus content, even though in Mythic Plus you can also go that Light Weaver build. So there's probably going to be certain talents that are going to become more popular, and certain talents or talents around Renew are going to become more powerful. It's also worth noting that your 2-set bonus, again, your things like Holy War Sanctify applying Renew, are also going to work towards lowering the cooldown of things like Holy War Sanctify. So if I'm going to use my Sanctify here, it's going to apply Renew on the targets that it heals, and because it applies Renew, it's going to reduce the cooldown of Holy War Sanctify straight away. So there is, again, feedback loop that you can see here, but again, you saw the Renew healing proc my 4-set bonus, so your next Holy War Sanctify or Holy War Serenity does not consume a charge when cast and costs 50% less mana, which is going to be interesting because if you're using something like, is this going to work with something like Holy War Salvation in your raid where you're going to be using this, it's going to apply Renew, is that going to instantly give me those charges? Again, something that I'm going to test out. In terms of my overall feel, I actually think that Holy Priest tier set is kind of reminiscent of that Discipline Priest tier set in Season 2 where you're able to pull up charges of Power Radiance, but in Holy Priest case you're able to pull up charges of your Holy Word spells like Serenity and Sanctify. I do wish they included Chastise in that list just to have a little bit of that additional damage, especially in Mythic Plus content, but overall I think a lot of people might be a little bit put off by the fact that it's revolving around Renew, but I also think that a tier set should change your gameplay and provide more focus onto spells that you haven't used before. Guys, I really want to know your opinion about the Holy Priest tier set because I think this might split some opinions. And last but not least, a Restoration Shaman. And honestly, after reading this, I had to do a bunch of testing because honestly, I was trying to see whether I like this or not, and I'm probably leaning towards I don't really like this. But 2-set bonus. Chain Heal, Healing Surge, and Healing Wave mark their initial target with Tidal Reservoir, causing them to receive 15% of all Riptide healing you deal for 10 seconds. On PTO, it's actually 20%, or at least that's what the tooltip is saying. And this is my Restoration Shaman with the tier set bonus. Again, you can see the wolves are looking pretty juicy. But in terms of marking players for your 2-set bonus, you have to remember, the only way to mark them is going to be through Chain Heal, Healing Surge, or Healing Wave. And only the initial target of Chain Heal gets marked. So this guy gets Tidal Reservoir, but this person here does not, which got hit by Chain Heal. So again, it's relatively hard to mark players with this. But then I was thinking about, what about Primordial Wave? What if I apply a bunch of Riptides on everyone and then I cast my Primordial Wave, and the Healing Wave from those Primordial Waves should also apply Tidal Reservoir. So I apply Riptide on this guy, I apply Riptide on this guy, I apply Riptide... Actually, I'm just gonna use Primordial Wave on this guy, and then I'm gonna use Healing Wave on myself. So the Healing Wave on myself is going to apply Tidal Reservoir, but the people here do not get Tidal Reservoir. So spreading your Tidal Reservoir, your 2-set bonus, is relatively hard. In Mythic Plus, you're probably going to be casting, again, you're going to be casting a lot, but in raid content, I'm not sure how many targets you can cover at a given point, especially considering that Primordial Wave, Healing Waves, are not working with this. And if they were working with it, it would be a lot easier, but it would also pigeonhole you into running that Primordial Wave build, which is not bad because right now, Primordial Wave build, especially with something like a Primal Tidecore, is very, very popular with things like Ancestral Awakening. I've actually very recently ran this Ancestral Awakening Primal Tidecore build with Primordial Wave, and I was pleasantly surprised about the amount of healing that you can do, especially feeding into Cloudburst. Now keep in mind, there's a lot of changes happening in 10.2 in terms of nerfing Cloudburst, in terms of nerfing some of the Primordial Wave, so there's a little bit of that doom and gloom type of vibe for Resto Shaman. Now, in terms of the 4-set bonus, Riptide's healing is increased by 15%, which kind of goes back to your 2-set bonus because your targets with Tidal Reservoir, it causes them to receive 15% of Riptide healing, and healing is being buffed. Again, on PTO service, it says 20%. I'm not sure which is going to be the value. If Riptide is active on the same target as Tidal Reservoir, its healing overtime effect has a 10% chance to create a new Riptide, which sounds actually pretty impactful because new Riptides are always good, especially if you're running that Primordial Wave build. But there are multiple issues. Let's go to PTR to test it out. First, if we assume it would work with the healing waves from a Primordial Wave, you could apply a bunch of Riptides on this guy, apply a Primordial Wave. Again, I can't do it on this guy because it's PvP. Cast Primordial Wave, cast Healing Wave, and let's assume this applies Tidal Reservoir to all of these targets. this guy got Tidal Reservoir, this guy got Tidal Reservoir, and then my Riptide would already be ticking on them, and it would increase a chance of getting or generating a new Riptide. That would actually be pretty interesting because, again, more Riptides and things like that, but it doesn't work right like that right now. You are going to have a really hard time of, how do I say, applying or managing this Tidal Reservoir buff. And if you do apply this Tidal Reservoir buff, you might be just casting Riptides on targets. Again, multiple targets in the raid, you're going to be casting Riptides, and then you're going to try and make sure that they have your Tidal Reservoir buff by casting something like Healing Wave. And you're going to be fishing for those procs. Overall, I think there needs to be a couple of changes added to this. I think there needs to be a couple of things. Again, this is initial review. There's probably going to be a lot of changes, or most likely interaction, or how this works. If they change a couple of things, I think it could be a lot more interesting, but it also could cause some weird gameplay loops in terms of, hey, this guy has Riptide on him, I'm going to cast my Chain Heal, Healing Surge, or Healing Wave in order to add this buff, Tidal Reservoir, in order to fish for Riptides. Is that going to be engaging gameplay in raids? Again, very uncertain about this tier set bonus. Probably the most uncertain tier set bonus that I've seen. I'm not saying this is inherently completely bad and needs to be reworked. It might need a couple of changes to make it work and to prevent that degenerate gameplay of fishing for Riptides. We'll have to see. And this concludes my massively long video. I really apologize about this. This is my first impressions. There's probably multiple things I missed out on. I did try to test out a lot of the tier set bonuses, but I might miss out on certain interactions. I will be testing more, keep that in mind. Overall, I think the tier set bonuses are looking pretty strong for a lot of healers. A lot of healers received tier set bonuses that provide damage and healing, things like Discipline Priest, things like Preservation Evoker, things like Holy Paladin. I like that. I like a tier set that provides damage. I think a couple of tier sets are a little bit bland in terms of ingenuity. For example, Holy Paladin 4-set bonus, it's a little bit lazy. I don't really like the Preservation Evoker 4-set bonus in terms of the randomness of applying echoes. There's a couple of tier set bonuses I'm not a huge fan. Resto Shaman is... I'm not even sure what to think of Resto Shaman, because I think there needs to be a couple of things changed to make this interesting to play. At least that's my opinion. Again, I could be missing out on a couple of things. In terms of tier sets that are winners, in my opinion, I think Mistweaver is looking to be juicing up if that tier set is going to make it live the way that it is. In my opinion, it's just absolutely insane. It might, again, Mistweavers are meta in Mythic Plus. Way too early to say. Guys, let me know how you feel about every single tier set, and let me know about the interactions that I missed out on, because this is my initial reaction. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next video.